Troubleshooting VLANs. VLANs are awesome because they're like the duct tape of every network technician. You'll be sitting in a conference room meeting, everybody's like, I don't think we can do this, I don't know. And then someone comes up with it, they're like, what if we used a VLAN? And then broke it off here and tagged it over there, and I mean within 3 minutes there was like, oh, this is brilliant, how come we didn't think of that? VLANs are awesome. It's just one of those MacGyver-like topics, right? VLANs allow you to take your single switch infrastructure, your single logical network, and break it into multiple broadcast domains, or essentially multiple subnets, multiple layer 3 networks, whatever terminology you want to throw at it. That's what VLANs are all about. Now, I threw some of the most common features up on the screen, like logically grouping users together. I can say, okay, the accounting users are separate from the sales users, or the servers are separate from the client devices, or the public Wi-Fi is separate from the corporate Wi-Fi, and I can control resource access using it. I can also say, okay, well, this VLAN and all this subnet on that VLAN, because that's what they correlate to, lines up to this quality of service policy that says these devices get more priority. Essentially, they're in the priority queue of the low latency queuing strategy to make sure that they get out first. That's the idea of voice over IP. All of that's possible with VLANs. I know, if given the time, I could create an entire CBT Nuggets series just on creative VLAN uses. You can see just some of the common ones that I threw up on the screen, but I mean, there's, when you're on the spot, you just can't think of them. When somebody's like, say something funny, you're like, what do you say to that? So, I mean, just as I'm talking right now, I'm thinking of a deployment that I just did where there was a data center, and that data center had internet access, and we had a Metro Ethernet connection down to one of the customer sites, right? And we were trying to figure out, okay, how do we, allow voice over IP to get its quality of service over that link, and at the same time add a firewall here for content filtering. We've only got a single line. And we actually ended up tagging this single line from the data center with two different VLANs. One that actually, it literally comes into the switch. Imagine this becomes a switch instead of a building, right? Goes into the switch, and we send the public VLAN essentially to the firewall and loop that back in. And anyway, I'm drawing it, I'm like, this doesn't make sense, but it does when you actually do it. There's just so many things that you can use VLANs for. Here's what I want you to think of VLANs as. Anytime you need a new network for some reason, for example, right here, we wanted a private and a public network coming out that same interface, or you want some kind of security boundary put in place to divide different groups of devices or users from each other, VLANs are golden. So what can go wrong with VLANs? Thankfully, not too much. It's a pretty simple topic. However, it gets complex because our network topologies are complex. If all our networks looked like this, it'd be like, that's awesome. I can troubleshoot that in a matter of moments because you just have a few links to look at. But when you look at an enterprise design which maybe doesn't follow best practices perfectly, and you've got a couple stray switches and stray links, that's where it just gets kind of icky, where you have to go device by device and figure out what's tagged, what's not, where the VLANs are created, and so on. So specifically, here's most of the time what goes wrong with VLANs. One, incorrect IP address, meaning a VLAN equals a subnet. So VLAN 20, there has to be some kind of subnet that goes along with that. We'll just say 10.20.1.0 in this case. You put a device on there and assign it an IP address that's not in that subnet, or the switch virtual interface, if you've got layer 3 switching going on, or your routed port does not have the IP address in that subnet, that can go wrong. Another one that goes wrong, and this is typically associated with just a mistake, is an inactive VLAN. VTP, a lot of times, VLAN trunking protocol, where you accidentally delete the VLAN database. This will happen a lot of times. Matter of fact, I configured a switch just like this. I'm going to go on this switch, and I'm looking at it right now. It's below my foot, and I can see fast Ethernet 2/0/15. Let's go there. Show interface fast Ethernet 2/0/15 is actually amber, even though it's connected on the switch port. The light itself is amber, and if I look at the switch port, I can see why. It's assigned to VLAN 50, which is inactive. What does that mean? It means that somebody deleted the VLAN. So if you go and do a show VLAN, you'll see that there is no VLAN 50. And if I'm looking at my list, there's a couple ways to identify it. I can see there is no fast Ethernet 2/0/15 anywhere in any VLAN. Essentially, the fabric or the carpet it's standing on has been pulled out. So the way to remedy that is to go in and recreate VLAN 50. And now if I hit the up arrow and do that same show command, I should see that access mode for VLAN 50 is now just showing I'm a member of VLAN 50. Last thing that you can see commonly with VLANs, now I'm not talking about trunks, it's going to be another nugget altogether, but VLANs could have the wrong port assignment. Simply put, you've got the list of interfaces on your device and you've assigned the wrong port to the wrong VLAN. I just had a really great idea. Keith Barker at CBT Nuggets is building a series alongside this called Troubleshooting Labs, or T-Shoot Labs. Essentially, it's taking the concepts and principles that I'm teaching you and applying them in a troubleshooting lab environment built in GNS3. And he's actually constructed the whole thing to where you download a virtual machine that you can run in VMware Player, which is free, has GNS3, has the whole topology, all the scenario. It's awesome. So I asked him, I said, Keith, do you have any scenarios that have anything to do with VLANs? Now, I'm kind of giving myself a leg up in that adventure because normally you have no idea what these scenarios are about. He goes, yeah, try out scenario number 2. So he shared with me the graphic because the series isn't done yet, but by the time you hear this, it probably will be. This is going to be the topology for the Troubleshooting Labs scenario. And you can see that over here on the left we have PC number 1, which is currently unable to ping this server down here. That's the mission of scenario number 2, is get PC number 1 to ping the server. Now, I have not done this scenario. I haven't even opened it other than getting the virtual machine running, which I am overly impressed with, and making sure that the idle PC timer was set so it doesn't kill my processor on my computer. But essentially, this is the GNS3 version of the topology that you see behind the scenes, and all the trunk ports are labeled and all that. So we'll flip back and forth. If you're cool with it, I would love to run through this scenario with you completely blind. Now, Keith recorded a brief setup nugget for each one of these troubleshooting scenarios, so I'm following that guide right now. He said load ticket number 2. He said there's an anomaly with GNS3. He does it for every one of these troubleshooting scenarios where he said you need to make sure HSRP resets. So go into interface VLAN 10, do a shutdown, wait 5 seconds, waiting, no shutdown, and then power that back on, and then get these devices to have IP addresses. Essentially, these are virtual PC kind of devices. In GNS3, they have a PC emulator that allows you to emulate a PC. If I could get this bigger. So you type in IP DHCP, so these things end up getting IP addresses assigned to them. So this shows the DHCP request, the offer, the acknowledgement, and now it should get an IP address. So essentially, there's our scenario. We've got the server that is at 10.2.2.6. So that is, there's my VMware troubleshooting. That is going to be the IP address that we're going to attempt to ping from PC1. So let's go over to PC1. And actually here, let's do this. We'll do always on top. PC1, bring that guy up. Do an IP DHCP, get him an IP address, and then we will ping to the other side. Actually, that's not... That's, well, there's our troubleshooting. That's not good. Usually it's going to do exactly what the server does and get an IP address. Okay, well, let's start there. Matter of fact, I'm going to go a little out of the box because I see a second PC there. And looking at the diagram, both those PCs are in VLAN number 10. So let's do an IP DHCP on that guy and just see if he gets an IP address. Again, what I'm immediately doing is I'm thinking, okay, look at that. So he did get an IP address. I'm thinking of that layered approach to where I'm coming in from wherever the issue is and kind of working my way to the destination. So something's up with PC number 1. So let's check out ASW1. We've got, and this, by the way, all these in GNS3 are running on a router switch module. Essentially, it's a switch inside of the router where the commands are just barely different. So Keith actually created aliases here, allowing you to see a quick view of the VLAN database and so on. So let's just do that. VL, we've got VLAN 10 user network. Okay, so I need to determine what port that PC is plugged into. And actually, I'm thinking go back to the diagram 1/11, right? I've got too many windows open. All right, so 1/, ooh, take a look at that. Let's check that out. So I'm going to do a global config mode, interface fast Ethernet 1/11, switch port, access VLAN 10. Now let me mention, can I say this as I'm typing in this command, and I'm wondering if it was that easy to find that issue. On the T-Shoot exam, you do not have the ability to fix the problem. You just have the ability to do show commands to diagnose. Like, for instance, if I was doing that, I'd be like, there's a potential error. The device was assigned to the wrong VLAN. So let's hop back over to PC1 and see if we can do that. Now, you might say, well, how do I know, can I test? You can do basic ping, you can do like traceroute, things like that. But yeah, we're still not, well, hang on, it may take if there's port fast, or I should say spanning tree. Okay, so I'm somewhere in between talking about the T-Shoot exam and troubleshooting this scenario. I will tell you, by the way, T-Shoot exam is one of the most fun exams, as long as you pass, that you will ever take, because it's actually like, oh, okay, it really engages you far more than picking a multiple choice question. Okay, so let's just do a quick show. I'm just going to do a show spanning tree for, I just want to see fast Ethernet 1/11. It just makes, show spanning tree. Let's see, interface fast Ethernet 1/11. Nothing there. Okay, so nothing special is at least happening right there. By the way, this is how you're going to get the Jeremy commentary in this entire thing. This is how I recorded the previous version of the T-Shoot series before Cisco revised it. Is I actually did this entire time. I've got to stop talking and stuff. Anyway, so we're looking right here. I'm just doing a quick brief. Okay, I'm just going to ping one more time because by now the port should have gone active, or try to get an IP address one more time. Should have gone active. We should be communicating, and I'm thinking we're not. Nope. Okay. So let's do a show VLAN. Verify that port is indeed in VLAN 1. So now I'm going to go layer by layer. Let's look at the trunk interface. So I've got 1/1 and 1/3 that are both trunks up to DSW1 and DSW2. All right, so let's do a show interface trunk. 1/1, 1/3, right? Hang on, let's look at the diagram. 1/1, 1/3. Okay, and we are sending VLANs 1, 10, and 200, which looks right. Okay. So let's go. Now I'm getting a little into the trunk troubleshooting, which is going to be the next nugget. But let's go over to VLAN. I'm still getting used to this VM bitch, which is awesome. So I'm going to take a look at DSW1 and DSW2 and just verify the trunks there are okay. Let's hop back over here. Oh, actually, there's DSW1 because I did that shut and no shut. And we'll do a show interface trunk, which on this side I've got 1/1 and 1/3 on the DSW1, 1/1, 1/3, which are both configured as trunk interfaces. All right, that looks right. This is hard. All right, so let's do. I was thinking it was going to be as easy as finding that misassigned VLAN. Okay, so PC1. All right. So making sure I'm not getting IP address. Again, I'm just making sure everything looks good. Show. Okay, so let's do a show run and find out, is this guy the DHCP server for the network? Because obviously PC2 did get an IP address. So DHCP relay, information option, let's see, down, let's see, spanning tree. So it's the spanning tree root because it's got a low priority, or I'm assuming the root. So we've got connection to R4, DSW2. We've got a couple trunk uplinks there. Okay, and then we've got the rest of the ports that are assigned. Okay, so interface VLAN 10. All right, just looking at this guy, helper address 4444. Okay, so there is a device somewhere, 4444, that is the one handing out IP addresses for VLAN 10. So let's go back to the scenario. I got to look at that diagram with you for a second. We've got PC1, PC2. We verified PC1 was now flipped over to the right VLAN. We're going to these two switches, 444. Oh, hey, look at that. Thanks, Keith. He noted on there that is the DHCP server on router 4. Now, okay, here's something that disturbs me. Why is PC1 not getting an IP address and PC2 is? You know what I mean? So essentially, if PC2 gets an IP address and they're both in VLAN 10, then that to me proves the trunk link, the DHCP server, okay, maybe on the DHCP server there's something like a MAC address reservation or an exclusion, or maybe the DHCP scope is only one address large. No, because I tried PC1 before I tried PC2, right? So no, that wouldn't be the case. Okay, unless something really weird is going on. Here's the fact that we can't ignore. PC2 is getting an IP address, right? PC1 is not. We know, so the fact that this guy is getting an IP address from VLAN 10 tells me the trunk is good, the DHCP server is good, unless, again, we've done something really whacked out, like saying, you know, if this MAC address asks for an IP address, he's not going to get one, which I'm guessing Keith wouldn't do that, but my gut feel is something's going on in an ASW1. Let's hop back over there. Because again, this guy going the whole way through, just that proves a lot, right? So let's flip back over to the VM. Let's take a look at ASW1. All right, so here, let's do show interface trunk. We're there. Show, or actually VL. Give me my VLAN list. were there. Oh, okay. What if there's a big what if? What if PC1 really isn't connected to Fast Ethernet 1/11? What if the diagram doesn't match what's there? Let's do a quick show MAC address table. I want to see. Interesting. Okay. Now, these PCs have been quiet, and we know the MAC address table gets refreshed in a little while if we don't do that. So let's just do a quick refresh on each one of these. Make sure that they send some traffic out. PC2, man, look at that guy. He's humming along. So PC2 is good. PC1 still bailing. Let's do a quick show MAC address table on there. And I'm seeing, okay, Fast Ethernet 1/12 is showing traffic. Fast Ethernet 1/11 is not showing up at all. Okay, hang on. Show IP interface brief on ASW1. Tell me it's not shut down. Okay. No. Whoa. Interesting. Look at that. Okay, 1/11. 1/11 is showing protocol down. All right, hang on. Show interface Fast Ethernet 1/11. Line is up. Line protocol down. No traffic whatsoever. All right, guys, what's the deal? Let's do a show run interface Fast Ethernet 1/11. Speed 100, duplex full, spanning tree port fast. It's in the right VLAN. Okay, interface Fast Ethernet 1/11. Let's just do a shut and a no shut. Get that thing cycling. All right, administratively down. Now, I'm gonna just look at PC1. Show IP. Yeah, he's not getting anywhere. All right, what is the story? ASW1. So we've got changed up, line protocol not coming up. Let's do this. Let's just take a look at the running configuration of ASW1. VTP, got the macros put in there. Okay, VLAN 10, VLAN. I'm talking out loud. So unused for layer 2. So we're looking at the switch itself. All right. So basically, we've got all of the trunk ports configured as they should be. This guy's shut down, but that's okay. He shouldn't be used. We've just got 1/1 and 1/3 that are active in there. 1/2 is shut down. That's fine. He's not used. Okay, so continue to run down the list. We've got VLAN 10, which has an IP address. And there's our banner. Okay, what on earth is going on here? Aging time 10, so it's going to keep the MAC addresses in there a little bit longer. You know, I'm just for sake, I'm gonna try this. Let's do a show run interface Fast Ethernet 1/11. VLAN 10 duplex full. Let's go under 1/11, and we will do. And you know what? I just want to look at this topology as well. Behind the scenes, PC1. Show. Whoa! Hold the phone there. I don't know if we'd be able to do that on the exam, but let's hang on. Did you see what I'm seeing? Yeah, I'm going off of the screen. I showed the interface labels on GNS3, and we've got Fast Ethernet 1/10 is where we're plugged in. Now let's do a show run interface Fast Ethernet 1/10. Oh, unbelievable! All right, I'm gonna go into Fast Ethernet 1/10 and do a no shutdown. Which okay, I would say it's fair game. It is fair game. So, um, I failed. I did fail the exam because again, okay, think of now. Yeah, on the exam, this is what you would see. I am going to keep this recording because by golly, it demonstrates the fact that things are not always what they seem. So the exam is showing it should be plugged into 1/11. I'm not seeing. Okay, that should have clued me in right there. Here's where my problem is. I'm at confessional right now, right? Here's where my problem was. I started doubting GNS3. I'm like, okay, is this a problem with the virtual PC emulator? Okay. Anyway, I'm coming up with excuses already. So let's do a show run interface fast Ethernet 1/10. It's in the wrong VLAN. So let's go into 1/10. Keith, kudos to you. You have beat me this time, but my foe, you shall fall. So switch port mode access. Let's do switch port access VLAN 10. Jam that guy over into VLAN 10. Show run interface fast Ethernet 1/10. Yes, so if the MAC address wasn't showing up in the table, let me just finish my thought process there. I should have at that point engaged in going, okay, if the MAC address isn't there and I know GNS3 is working right and everything else, I should have started saying, okay, let's look at the other interfaces that are shut down. Do something like an interface range 1/1 through 16 and do a no shutdown on them so that I can get them all powered up and see if that MAC address shows up in the table to diagnose this. I haven't even solved the problem yet. Hang on, let me just make sure before I'm like hero of the day and then it's like, no, that's not it either. So show IP, let's do IP address DHCP, see if PC1 gets one now. Oh, I didn't do port fast. Oh, that's all right. Looks like it came up in time. Woo! So it's got an IP address. Now let's go back over to we're pinging the server, right? I think in all of that excitement, I totally forgot what I'm doing. So my goal is to ping the server, which I completely forgot its IP address at this point as well. Let's go over to the server. Oh, there it is. 10.226 PC1 ping 10.226. No. Okay, so there's more. Oh, okay. Whew. I was like, oh my goodness, this is the most brutal ticket ever. Okay, it just took some time for the emulated pings to go through. I shouldn't say emulated. Or simulated. Anyway, I am done, my friends. That was awesome. Tell me you don't want to go through Keith's T-Shoot Lab series 100% right now. I do. I'm kind of like, well, let's just pause the recording and have some fun. So that's the mindset that you have to have. You have to have that information, essentially where to look, what you're diagnosing, and then combining it with the big picture, the huge real-world scenario that puts all those facts and figures together. Good. Well, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.